And as we are being seated, we're going to get started with Psalm 150. Hallelujah, hallelujah. And I know you know the middle part. Hallelujah, el bekocho, hallelujah, birkia uso, hallelujah, bikurotav. Hallelujah, kerokulo, hallelujah, beteka shofar, hallelujah, penevel vechinor, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah, betof machol, hallelujah, beminim veukav, hallelujah, betzilzle shama, hallelujah, betzilzle trua, kol haneshama tehallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah, everyone, hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Shabbat Shalom.
That's part of it. Better now? Okay. That's why we check. Well, Shabbat Shalom and good morning. It is just such a delight to be here with all of you today. We are here this morning to do two things. The first is to celebrate Shabbat because it is Saturday, and as a Jewish community, this is what we do on Shabbat. We celebrate Shabbat in community, and I know that CBI has been a part of your family for a long time, so we are so delighted to celebrate with all of you this morning. I know there are many celebrating here in person, a few celebrating here in person, not many, I don't want to oversell, but many more celebrating via the YouTube and the live stream. So all of you who are here today in joy and peace, we are delighted to have you. The second thing we are here to do today, I can't see you, Ella, because you're like behind the podium. Hey, how you doing? Good. We are here this morning to celebrate the bat mitzvah of Ella Marmorstein as she becomes an adult in the Jewish community today. And Ella, we are just delighted to be here and to learn from you and to hear all about the Torah portion and what it has meant to you and what it means to you to become a part of the Jewish community. As an adult, you've been a part of the Jewish community since you were born. And as we were saying just a few moments ago, your parents have been imagining this day since the moment you were born. I don't think any of us could have ever quite imagined it would look exactly the way it does right now, but we are happy to be here. And as we get started, I'm not going to make a big fuss because this is Ella's day, but I do want to extend our gratitude and thanks to Ella's mom, Dr. Rebecca Sonnenschein, who has helped us to figure out how to open safely and to be able to be here together. So we offer thanks to you, and now we give our attention to Ella, because it is her day, but I would be remiss to not say anything at all, and to send regards from Rabbi Khan and his thanks as well. So let's begin. One more reminder. Because of that, I need to make sure that if you are not standing enclosed in a plastic space, that your mask stays on your face from your nose to your chin, and that you are only within 6 feet of the people with whom you are living. All right, so with that, a little introduction to our prayer book. For those of you who haven't used this book before, there are some clean, sanitized ones on the cart back there if you don't have one. It goes in the Hebrew direction, which means that what seems like the back is actually the front, and what seems like the front is actually the back. And inside the book, you'll find on the right side of the page Hebrew, next to that transliteration, which means it is the Hebrew words written in English letters. Below that, you'll find translation, and on the left side of the page, you'll find interpretive prayers and readings. We will call page numbers as we go. Don't worry if you find yourself on a different page than we are. Just hang out, and eventually you'll get to the right page. And in the meantime, take a look at the page where you have landed, because perhaps that is the page where you are actually meant to be. So don't stress if you end up on another page. We will always catch up eventually. Lastly, if you are here in person, we ask you to please keep your phones and any other distractions put away. And if you are with us on the live stream, you can just set your technology in a way that you can be present here with us and turn off notifications or other distractions that might keep you in a different headspace. So with that, let's invite Ella to the bima and her grandparents, who will be presenting her with a talit this morning.
Well, here we are, finally. This tallis is 25 years old. We got it in Sfat, Israel, for your mom, but she'd long since had her bat mitzvah, so we saved it, and sure enough, the day came when we can give it to you with all our love.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotah v'tzivanu lehitatef b'tzitzit.
Amen.
Thank you.
And do the ancient tradition of the hair flip. Very important. Excellent.
And Ella will continue with Nasim B'choyom, our blessings for every day, giving thanks for those small things that we don't always remember to be thankful for. You can find it in your book on page 198.
And after each blessing that Ella's going to chant, we will respond with Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lasech fifina lehavhin ben yom uvein laila, who has given the mind the ability to distinguish day from night.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim, who opens the eyes of the blind.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim, who frees the captive.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kefufim, who lifts up the fallen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rokah haaretz al hamayim, who stretches the earth over the waters.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin mitzadeh gaver, who strengthens our steps.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Malbish Arumim, who clothes the naked.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten le'aif koach, who gives strength to the weary.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Hama'avir shinai me'enai utnuma me'afapai, who removes sleep from the eyes, slumber from the eyelids.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani b'tzelem Elohim, who made me in the image of God.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani bat korin, who has made me free.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam She'asani Israel, who has made me a Jew.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Ozer Yisrael bigvura, who girds Israel with strength.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Oter Yisrael b'tifara, who crowns Israel with splendor.
Amen.
Let's continue on page 224 with the Chatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועל מה דברך ינותי ועמך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב וימרו. אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה, יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם וינשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי לקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירון ועלמה וימרו. Amen.
Let's turn to page 226 and stand for the Baruchu.
Yai lai, ya lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai, ya lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai, ya lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai. Barechu et Adonai, Amen vorach, Amen vorach, Baruch Adonai, Amen vorach, Leolam, Leolam va'ed. Praise Adonai, to whom our praise is due. Praise Adonai, to whom our praise is due. Let's all try that. Praise Adonai, to whom our praise is due. Now and forever. Let's join together in singing. Ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
Page 228.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or uvorei choshech oseh shalom uvorei et hakol.
Hameir la'aretz v'ladarim aleha barachamim, uvtuvo mechadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reishit. Ma rabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam b'chochma asita. Mal'ah ha'aretz kinyanecha, titbarach Adonai Eloheinu al shevach ma'aseh yadecha, ve'al me'orei or she'asita yifa'arucha salam.
אור חדש על ציון תאיר ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו. ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות.
Let's turn to page 230 or page 112 if you're using the other version of the Siddur. Ella, I invite you back to the podium to lead us in the English in the middle and the bottom of the page.
How deeply you have loved us, Adonai, our God, gracing us with your surpassing compassion. On account of our forebears, whose trust led you to teach them the laws of life, be gracious to us, teaching us as well. O merciful one, have mercy on us by making us able to understand and discern, to heed, learn, and teach, and lovingly to observe, perform, and fulfill all that is in your Torah. Enlighten our eyes with your Torah. Focus our minds on your mitzvot. Unite our hearts in love and reverence for your name. Then we will never feel shame, never deserve rebuke, and never stumble. Having trusted in your great and awesome holiness, we shall celebrate your salvation with joy.
Gather us in peace from the four corners of the earth and lead us upright to our land. For you, O God, work wonders. You chose us. Truly, you drew us near to your great name, that we might acknowledge you, declaring you one in love. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher ve'amo Yisrael, be'ahava. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
Let's be seated and turn to the next page, page 234 or 116, as Ella leads us.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלבתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם מאוד על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם
Let's turn now in our books to page 239, and Ella will lead us responsively in the reading at the bottom of the page.
The eternal truth is that you alone are God, and there is no one else.
May the righteous of all nations rejoice in your love and exult in your justice.
Let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks.
Let nation not lift up sword against nation, nor learn war anymore.
You shall not hate your brother or your sister in your heart.
The stranger that sojourns with you shall be accepted as your equal, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt.
Why do you crush my people and oppress the poor? Asks God.
We know that the Eternal One defends the poor and upholds the rights of the needy.
Praise to God Most High.
Blessed is God and deserving of blessing.
Page 240 or 122, our Song of Freedom.
We're going to begin with lie, 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 lie. Very easy to sing. Yai, lie, 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 and then we give two claps. Ya, lie, 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 ya, lie, 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 yai, lie, 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 ya, lie, 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 lie. Sing with us, or just give the claps. Mi chamocha. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. כמוך נהדר בקודש, לא ראיתי לא תוסף אלה, לא ראיתי לא תוסף אלה. We sing a new song, שירה חדשה. שירה חדשה שבכל גאולים לשמחה לשפת הים יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו יא לי לי יא לי 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 Adonai imloch leolam vaed Son Israel kuma be'ezrat Israel ufedeichnu mecha Yehuda be'Israel go'aleinu Adonai tzvaot shemo Kedosh Yisrael, Baruch Atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael.
Let's turn to page 242 or 124 and stand for the Amidah. We begin by asking God to open up our lips so that we can access the prayers that we feel so deeply, and we'll begin with a few first lessons out loud together and then have some time for individual reflection. Page 242.
Adonai sefatai tiftach Ufia ki tehilatecha Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imonoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzhak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Ve'konei Hakol Ve'zocher Chasdei Avot ve'imahot U'mevi geula livnei v'neichem Leman shemo be'ahava Melech ozer u'moshia u'magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah Atah gibor le'olam Adonai Mechayei hakol atah rav lehoshia Mashiv haruach u'morid hakashem Mechalkel chayim bechesed Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim Somech noflim verofeh cholim Umatir asurim Umekayem emunato Lishenei afar Michamocha bal gevurot Umito melach Melech memit umechayei Umatzmiach Yeshua V'ne'eman atah le'achayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai Mechayei hakol. We continue together with the Kedusha on page 248. Nekadei sheshimcha ba'olam Keshem shemagdishim otcha b'shmei marom Kakatuv al yad aviecha Vekachazel ze ve'amar Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai tzvaot Melech kol haaretz kevodo Adir Adirenu Adonai Adonenu Madir Shimecha bechol haaretz Baruch kevod Adonai mimekomo Echad hu Eloheinu hu Avinu hu Malkeinu hu Moshienu Ve'hu yashmir berachamav Leinei kol achai Ani Adonai Elohechem Imloch Adonai leolam Elohai Zion Ledor vador Hallelujah גדולך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
You may be seated. Let's turn to Yismechu, page 250 or 132.
ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וכל עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וכל עונג שבת. מקדשי שבי שבת, כולם יספרו ויתענגו מטובך השבת. Let's try that together. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. והשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו שבת. חמדת ימים אותו קראת השבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. זכר למעשה וראשית. זכר למעשה וראשית. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת.
With those words of joy, we take this time for our own private prayer and individual reflection. If the words on the page speak to you, you may take some time to page through them, or if you need some time just to quiet your own mind and seek your own private thoughts, that is fine as well. And we'll join back together on page 258 with Sim Shalom.
טובה וברכה בעולם. שים, שים, שים שלום, טובה וברכה בעולם. חן וחסד ורחמים, חן וחסד ורחמים, עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עמך. שים, שים, שים שלום, טובה וברכה בעולם. ברכנו יוצרנו כולנו כאחד באור פניך. ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום.
In a moment, we will stand together and open the Ark as we begin our Torah service. But before we do so, I want to acknowledge one of the traditions that we have had at CBI and at B'nai Mitzvah all over for a very long time. That is one of those 2020 things that we don't get to do right now. So I just want to share what this tradition typically is and typically looks like, because even though we can't physically do this ritual, it is very much still an important part, perhaps one of the most important parts of this day. So typically, any other year that's not 2020, we would open up the Torah, we would open up the Ark, take out the Torah, and then pass the Torah from hand to hand, from grandparents to parents, and then down to Ella, who is becoming Bat Mitzvah today. And this is intended to symbolize the way that Torah passes down from generation to generation, and not just the scroll itself, but the lessons within it. And the way that the lessons that we find here in the scroll are the things that sustain us, the things that unite us, the things that keep us together as a community. And the most important part of this passing of Torah is not, yes, of course, it's the people standing before us, but it's also the many, many, many generations of people who had to pass Torah before this day in order to get to right now. And it's the many, many, many generations of people yet to come who will receive Torah expressly because we are here today, passing Torah to Ella, who will then share the Torah that she has learned with those that she has loved and will teach throughout the course of her life. So while we cannot pass Torah hand to hand because 2020, we can still and we will always continue to pass Torah from heart to heart, which is exactly what we will do today as we stand together and turn to our Torah service, which you can find on page 362.
אין כמוך ואלוהים אדוני, ואין כמעשיך. מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים, וממשלתך בכל דור ודור. אדוני מלך, אדוני מלך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. אהבה רחמים, היטיב ברצונך, את ציון. תבנה חומות ירושלים, תבנה חומות ירושלים. כי בך לבד בטחנו, מלך אל רם ונישא, אדון עולמים. כי מציון תצא תורה, כי מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני מירושלים. ברוך שנתן תורה, תורה, ברוך שנתן תורה, תורה, בקדושתו. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. אחד אלוהינו, גדול אדוננו, קדוש שמו. גדלו לאדוני איתי, ונרוממה שמו יחדיו. לך אדוני הגדולה והגבורה והתפארת והנצח וההוד. כי כל בשמיים ובארץ, כי כל בשמיים ובארץ, לך אדוני הממלכה והמנשא לכל לראש.
As Ella prepares to read from Parshat Noach, if there is anyone, I don't think there's anyone here who is using a Torah commentary. It looks like you all have Sidurim, not commentaries. If there's anyone out there who is following along in the Plout Torah commentary, you can find our reading this morning on page 59, Genesis chapter 6. As we get ready to read Torah, just a word about this week's Torah portion, about Parshat Noach. It is perhaps one of the most well-known stories in the Torah when, Noah builds an arky because of the floody and the animals come on by twosies. It's one of the first ones that many of us learn about as children. And perhaps it is because there is this a nature to this story that is so universal, which I think is so touching right now in a time in our lives where it feels like not much is held universally, where it feels like everyone is kind of approaching the world in a different way, approaching life in a different way, approaching values in a different way, and it feels like the divisions between us get deeper and louder and bigger over time. That when we turn to a story like Parshat Noach, and we see that this is a story about something that happened to the whole world all at one time, and the way that we made it through in this story. Well, some of the people made it through. But in this story, what is most important is the way that the family came together to build a new world. And one of the most important parts of this Torah portion, which I'm sure Ella studied extensively, is when we receive what is called the 7 Noahide laws. And this is the first law code that is meant for all people. And important for us to remember that there is a common foundation. Now the bar is pretty low in these Noahide laws. It's things like don't kill people and like don't eat animals that are still alive, right? But what's most important, even though these are pretty low bar kinds of laws, it is a code that connects us one to the other. And perhaps what is helpful for us today is to look at those things that connect us one to the other, the bonds that we share, the ways in which we are more similar than we are different. So with that, we invite Ella to come and read with us this universal Torah portion, these words that speak to all of us, no matter who we are or where we come from. And for our first Aliyah, we invite Bubby and Opa to come and join us on the bima for this first Aliyah.
Yamod Sebi ben Gershon Ephraim, Tamod Devorah bat Yehuda, Yamdu Rishon. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'olam, v'nasan lanu Torato. Baruch atah Adonai nosein ha'Torah.
Amen. Amen.
Ledot Noach, Ish Tzadik, Tamim Haya Bedorotav, Et ha-Elohim hitalech Noah, Violet Noah shlosha vanim, Et Shem, Et Cham, Ve'et Yafet, Vatishochet haaretz lifnei ha-Elohim, Vatimalech haaretz hamas, Vayar Elohim, Et haaretz vehinei nishata, Ki shchit kol basar, Et darko al haaretz.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher nasa lanu Torah zanes, v'chayei olam atah b'sofenu, Baruch atah Adonai, noten
Amen. Blow a kiss to your buddy.
Yasher Koach. We're going to blow some mass kisses and send like faraway hugs. Yasher Koach. And I want to acknowledge and thank you. I know that your participation in Ella's life and your commitment to our synagogue is part of what has made today so special and important. So thank you for sharing your love of Judaism and Torah with all of us. You may come back and be seated. As we turn to our next Aliyah, I love the way you wrote the names on here. We've got Uncle Pete, Aunt Jamie, Zoe, and Jacob. My understanding is Zoe is here in person, and the rest are joining us virtually. So thank you, Zoe, for being the family representative.
Yamod Pesach ben Zvi v'devorai, Tamod Yisrael Rivka bat Ephraim v'Masha, Tamod Leafreda bat Pesach v'Yisracha Rivka, Uyamod Yaakov Levi ben Pesach v'Yisracha Rivka, Yamdu Sheni. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim v'na'atan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. We're gonna go right now. Hang on there. Okay, go ahead. Amen.
Amen. Vayomer Elohim lenoah, Ketz kol basar ba'alefanai, ki malach haaretz hamas mipneihem, vehineni mashitam et haaretz, aseh lecha tevata ze gofer, ki nim ta'aseh et hateva, vechafarta ota, mi bayit umichutz ba'kofer, v'zeh asher ta'aseh ota, shelosh me'ot amah, orech hateva hamishim amah, rochba u'shloshim amah, kol matah.
Now, before we do the blessing after, is everyone there?
What?
Can you guys hear?
That sounds beautiful.
Hello?
Okay.
You're there? All right, hold them right up to the microphone.
Okay.
All right, and Zoe, why don't you give them a 1, 2, 3 before you do the blessing after?
Okay, you guys ready?
Yep.
1, 2, 3.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam atah b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Amen. Before you hang up, give them a chance to say Mazel Tov Ella.
Baruch atah Adonai.
You're done with the blessings. Just
You
say
can say
Mazel
Mazel
Tov.
Tov.
It's blessed. It's blessed.
Do you want to say something to Ella? They just keep
Maybe
pushing.
later.
3-second delays, you know.
Yeah. All right. So for our third Aliyah, we invite all of Ella's parents. We invite Rebecca, Aaron, and Julie, and Jared too, yeah? All right, come on up.
תעמוד רבקה בת צבי ודבורה, יעמוד אהרון בן ברוך, ורחל בת שאול ושלומית, יעמדו שלישית.
You all can go on up to the podium because Ella is with all of you, so you're in the same bubble.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed.
Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Amen. Zohar ta'aseh la teva, ve'elama techalena milmala, ufetach ha'teva betzida tasim tachtim, sheniyim ushloshim ta'aseha, va'ani hineni מביא את המים על הארץ לשחט כל בשר אשר בו רוח חיים מתחת השמיים כל אשר בארץ יגבר והקימותי את בריתי איתך ובאת אל התיבה יעתה ובניך וישתך ושבניך איתך.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
And now for our fourth aliyah. This is the chance that Ella has to say the blessing before and after the Torah reading. Now, everything that she has done up until this point can be done by any Jewish person who has practiced and knows how, but to say the blessing before and after the reading is something you have to be an adult in the eyes of our community in order to do. So this is actually the moment, watch carefully, because Ella is about to become bat mitzvah.
Wait, let me call you up first. Tamod, Tamod, Habachura Habat Mitzvah Elisheva, Bat Aharon Micha Verivka, Chazak, Chazak, Venitchazek.
Baruchu et Adonai Hamevorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'na'ata lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Umikol ha'chai, mikol basar shenaim, mikol tavi el hateva lecha chayot ita, zachar unkeva yihiyu, mechaot lemineu, umin ha'adama lemina mikol. Remes ha'adama lech lemineu Shenayim mikol yavo'u elecha lechachayot ve'ata kach lecha mikol ma'achal asher ya'achel ve'asafta elecha ve'chaya lecha ve'lachem le'ochla Vayas Noah kecho asher tziva oto Elohim kein asa. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah temet v'chayei olam nata b'toheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Yasher Koach.
Yasher Koach. I have a confession. I want to say, can I say this? So Ella looks at me about halfway, right after her second online, and she goes, this isn't so bad. Yeah, I told you.
I told you the hard part was getting ready. Like, it's all free sailing from here. All right, Ellie, you can go take a breath and have a seat with Mark. And Ellie, you've got your Haftarah and then your speech on deck, okay? All right. So with the Torah in front of us, we draw strength from its teachings as we think of those who are in need of healing, healing of body, healing of spirit, healing of mind. If there's anyone you are thinking of this morning, those of you who are here in person, I will ask you for names in just a moment. And if there's anyone who is following on the live stream or on YouTube and you would like to share, a name in the chat function, you may do so that way. So is there anyone here who is thinking of someone and would like to share a name for healing? We find Misha Berach, our prayer for healing, on page 371 or 253.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. And let us say, Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Let's stand as we lift the Torah and dress it. We are lucky our calendar is left-handed, so lifting the Torah at this point in the year is no problem for him. Let's stand.
Vezot HaTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai beyad Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. 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 Torah, tziva lanu Moshe.
You may be seated. And Ella, we invite you now. You have worked so hard, you have studied so much and learned so much about our Torah portion. So we invite you now to share the words that you have prepared. Share your Devar Torah with all of us this morning.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Nice and slow.
Picture this: no technology, no form of efficient healthcare, and no running water. One of the most highly respected people in your town or village begins to build a giant boat. Naturally, you'd be pretty curious and most likely ask the reason for building the unusually large ship. After receiving the response of, "I heard the voice of God telling me to build an ark to save the animals from a flood that will wipe out all of humanity," your first instinct would probably be to either quickly walk away or seek medical attention for that person. Most people know the story of Noah, which comes from the book of Genesis. The beginning of the story could have taken place anywhere on earth, which is why its lessons are so universal. Noah was chosen to build the ark because he was a righteous man. Noah built the ark with trust and faith in God, that God would get him and his family through the flood, which began with 40 days and 40 nights of rain, followed by 150 days of waiting for the earth to dry. Once the flood was over and the ark washed up on Mount Ararat, Noah's children had more children, and they began families of their own. To me, the most interesting part of this story is how much the Torah stresses Noah's righteousness. He led a good life and did good things with his time, which is why God chose him to carry on humanity. God believed that Noah would inspire his offspring to do good, just as he had. Commentaries elaborate more on what it means to be righteous. Nachmanides explained that Noah was neither a person of violence nor a person who cheated and lied, as did the guilty people of his generation. Other teachers of Jewish traditions highlighted that Noah followed God's orders without questioning God's choice to wipe out the entirety of humanity. One interpretation of this decision is that Noah cared more about his own safety and survival than that of his friends and neighbors. When I first read this story, I kept thinking about Noah being chosen not because of his craftsmanship or his skill, but because of his character. However, character isn't really enough. It's actions that have the biggest impact. Although Noah had good character, he wasn't a good leader. If he had been a true leader, he would have extended his help to those outside of his inner circle, asked God if he could bring others on the ark, or at least share the information of the upcoming flood with his community. A true leader would have influenced the mindset of those around him, inspiring them not to lie and cheat, or at least inspired others in his generation to build their own ark, or offered for them to join him on his. As I watch our elected officials campaign for their re-election, I notice how they try to bring their other opponent down to make themselves look good, rather than telling the American people what they are going to do to fix the issues America faces. They are saving themselves, as Noah did, rather than working together to help society in these challenging times. If we accept that true righteousness is doing good deeds and inspiring others to do the same, then it matters what leaders say and do. On the other hand, when leaders promote racism, sexism, and homophobia, they inspire others to behave the same. The story of Noah has taught me that actions are important. Mitzvah goreret mitzvah. One mitzvah leads to another. Avirah goreret avirah. One sin leads to another sin. Basically, Jewish karma. This means that as a Jewish adult, the choices I make matter and will affect others either positively or negatively. Everything we do has an impact, and if we want to change the world, we have to start with ourselves. I want to thank everyone who couldn't make it today for still supporting me through this process. I also want to thank all my teachers and those who have helped me learn more about what it means to be Jewish. I love having a connection with Judaism and making it a part of who I am. And thank you so much to all of my grandparents for always bringing a smile to my face. I have so many amazing memories from trips, holidays, and spending time with all of you in general. I hope you know that I remember every second. You always spoil me, not only with bowl after bowl of ice cream, but with your unconditional love for me. I love you all so much. Aunt Jamie, Uncle Pete, Zoe, Jacob, and Charlotte. Although there were some changes in plans, thank you guys for making this so much less stressful. I was nervous at first, even before I started to study for my bat mitzvah, but you always reassured me that I would do well and that you were always there for me. I always get excited when we can all see each other, especially when it means going to the mall and helping me to pick out clothes without my mother's constant, yet later appreciated questioning. Jared and Ashley, thank you for both coming into my life and being such amazing people. You both never fail to make me laugh, and I always have a good time with you. Thank you so much for helping me get ready, Ashley, and for being such an amazing older sister. And thank you, Jared, for always being there for me. You are such an amazing cook, and I want you to know that I really appreciate you making lunch for me while I'm working on school. You teach me something new every day, and thank you for helping me scoop my ice cream when I can't. I love you both so much. Julie, you are such an amazing stepmom in every way possible. I can always talk to you, and your understanding of me is greatly appreciated. The amount of effort you put into making others happy always amazes me. You are so selfless and beautiful inside and out. Thank you so much for loving me and being there for me forever and always. Dad, thank you for being here for me during this time, too. I love it when we spend the day making jokes and laughing about everything. I always have fun when we go to the park and play with the football, talking about random things that are going on with the world. I truly cherish those positive moments, and I know that I'll never forget them. Mom, thank you so much for figuring out everything for the bat mitzvah, like helping me pick a dress, making sure I'm prepared, and being so flexible about every change that's been made. You've done so much for me, and I appreciate it more than I could ever put into words. You are such an incredible woman in many different ways. You're helping us all through the pandemic. You're taking care of yourself, and you still have time for family, and I really admire the way you're able to keep that balance. The trips we go on are always the highlights of my year, and I hope that we are able to go on more once the pandemic is over. Everything you plan on the trips is so we have fun, and it's all stress-free and the perfect experience. I love you so much, and thank you so much for being there for me every step of the way. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. And Ella, thank you for sharing those beautiful lessons, both about what the Torah portion has meant to you and also what it means to really appreciate everybody in your family in all of those special ways. So at this time, we are going to return the Torah to the ark. So let's stand up, and I would like to invite all of your parents to join you up on the bima as we return the Torah.
יהללו את שם אדוני, כי נשגב שמו לבדו.
1, 2, 3, 4 with
אותו
Ella.
על ארץ ושמיים, וירם קרן לימו, תהילה לכל חסידיו, לבני ישראל עם קרובו. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Eitz Chaim hi, lama chazikim ha, v'tomchecha meushar, derachecha, darchei noam, bechol netivotecha shalom. Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva chadesh, chadesh yameinu, chadesh yameinu kekedem.
So Ella, here we are. We have made it to this moment, and I think it looks like you're even smiling. It has been truly a journey to get here to this day, and I know that originally Rabbi Khan was scheduled to be here with you, and you and your family have known him and celebrated with him for so long. And Rabbi Khan, we miss you if you're watching. But I could not be more delighted that I had the chance to get to know you and to get to know your family, because I just had so much fun with you. We had such great conversations, and I loved getting to have coffee with you yesterday and learning even more about you. So I hope that we'll have the chance, as life continues with you as an adult in our community, that we get to know each other even better, because I think you have so much to share with us as a synagogue and with the Jewish people. So as we were talking, I was asking you about, what do you like to do? What are some of your extracurriculars? And it's funny, we started with what did you learn from the Torah portion as we wrote your speech? And then after that, we talked the small talk, right? And you told me that you study classical guitar at your school for the arts. And so in my head, I'm like, oh, you're like an artsy person. How cool. I love artsy people. And so we started, I was like, well, is that's strange, because your family is so math and science oriented. And you were like, oh, no, I love math and science. And for me, you're an artsy person who loves math and science. And you have this incredible ability to both appreciate the technicalities and the scientific and the specific ways that things work, right? While also appreciating the art and the beauty and the music that exists in our world. And so these things come together in you, both the science and the math and the technical and the arts and the music and the beauty. And it made me think about our Torah portion and how Noah is a righteous person who is a builder, right? He has to put this ark together, and he's got to do the scheduling, and he's got to figure out how to feed all the animals and make all of the technicality of that experience work in order to save humanity, right? But nothing happens. No one gets saved. Nothing gets fixed until they look out and they see the rainbow. He's got to appreciate the beauty in order to be able to move forward. It's not one or the other, it's both that makes the world work, that allows us to go forward, that helps make the world a better place. We've got to understand the math and the science, and we have to appreciate the beauty. And both of these abilities live in you. So like Noah, not only do you strive for righteousness, but you see the whole of what's in front of you. And it is that talent and that skill that is going to help the whole world be better. So we are so glad that you are here as an adult in the Jewish community, able to teach all of us how to see the whole picture, all of it before us. So with that, we offer you these words of blessing.
Everybody put your arms around. Adonai ve'yishmerech.
May God bless you and may God keep you.
Ya'er Adonai panav eleich v'chunayich.
May God's face shine on you and always be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav eleich ve'asem lach shalom. Shalom.
May you always feel God's presence within you like you feel the embrace of your family around you right now. And may you always be blessed with peace.
Ve'asem lach shalom. Shalom.
Amen.
Siman tov u'mazel tov, mazel tov v'siman tov, siman tov u'mazel tov, mazel tov v'siman tov, siman tov u'mazel tov, mazel tov v'siman tov, yehei lanu. Siman tov u'mazel tov, mazel tov v'siman tov, siman tov u'mazel tov, mazel tov v'siman tov, siman tov u'mazel tov, mazel tov v'siman tov, yehei lanu.
You may be seated.
All right. What an honor it is to witness our daughter Ella becoming a bat mitzvah. I learned something about Ella as we read through her Torah portion together, preparing for today. She was far more interested in the commentary than the actual story. I read the story and thought, wow, locked in with my family and a bunch of smelly animals, 200 plus days, waiting for a vaccine, I mean the earth to dry up. Sounds familiar, but not Ella. She glossed right over the obvious pandemic lockdown comparison and honed right in on righteousness and the power of good deeds and how our current leaders could learn something from Noah. She's right. Character is important, but actions matter most. Ella certainly demonstrated both character and commitment to action by achieving the goal of becoming a bat mitzvah, despite more than a few barriers. But the moment I knew that Ella was on her way to Jewish adulthood was after she met with her mentor, Mark Lerner, for the first time. She came back overflowing with excitement, telling me the Torah isn't just a bunch of stories, but that there's this thing called the Midrash that explains the stories and argues about what they mean and asks questions, and that it's really, really cool. Only she didn't say cool, she used a much cooler word that I am not cool enough to remember. Ella, your Torah portion Noach, or should I say the commentary to Noach, demonstrated why you don't have to just accept what God or others tell you and follow blindly without explanation. Asking questions and deciding for yourself what things mean to you is the heart of the Jewish religion. Mark, thank you for helping Ella to discover this aspect of Judaism. And Ella, thank you for being the wise woman that you are. And not taking my word for why Judaism has so much to teach us. Keep asking questions. You did a beautiful job today. Mazel tov. I love you very much.
Shabbat Shalom. 9 years ago, I met a remarkably precocious, Hello Kitty loving preschooler who dreamed of one day becoming a fashion mermaid. It didn't take long for me to realize you were no ordinary girl, and it didn't take long for me to fall in love with you. You have been the light of our lives, and it has been the greatest privilege for me to watch you grow and mature into this stunning and brilliant woman standing before me. Over the years, you have never ceased to amaze me with your quick wit, intelligence, sensitivity, determination, and compassion. I have no doubt you will reach every goal you set out to achieve, and I cannot wait to see all of the remarkable places that life takes you. Today marks your spiritual passage into adulthood, and I could not be more proud of you. The sky is the limit for you, Ella Caroline. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. The day I met you, Ella, about 13 years ago, my life changed dramatically for the better. In an instant, you were the center of my world, and since that day, my love for you has grown. It's not easy for a father to let go of his little girl. In my heart, I can still see you as a child. When I look at you through my eyes, I can see that the little girl has grown and you've become something else, an amazing, soon-to-be young adult. Childhood moves slowly in a sense. A toddler becomes a young girl, becomes a big kid, but the transformation into young adulthood has happened quickly. You don't look like a child or talk like one or act like one anymore, only once in a while. Part of growing up is seeing the world through a different set of eyes and all that goes along with it. Your parents are not the all-powerful, all-knowing beings we once were. It can be difficult yet wondrous at the same time as you discover who you are. Now, around our house, you have an extended family with a loving stepmom and Julie, lots of loving grandparents, and 2 adoring siblings in Arya and Wes. And as parents are your model for what it means to be an adult, you are their model now. They literally follow in your footsteps. You are more than a child in their eyes as well. As Arya said just the other day, when I grow up, I want to be like Sissy. Ella, I am so proud of you for who you are, and I can only imagine the amazing woman you will become. I feel blessed to share in your journey, and I hope you trust me to help you along the way. I will always be your dad, and I'll always be around and available for you if you need me anytime, anywhere. That is my promise to you. You are still the center of my world, and that will never change. We, your big extended family, hope your bat mitzvah is a proud and happy day.
Beautiful. Now that is a lot of love. How lucky and how wonderful. Hold on, Ella, don't go anywhere. There's more. So I would like to invite your mentor and also longtime family friend, Mark Lerner, who I'll let him explain.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Hope that this can pick up my voice. My voice doesn't carry very well. That was a joke. Mazel tov. Wow. You did a phenomenal job. It is it has been such an honor and a privilege to work with you as a mentor. So the story is that when I was just a little bit older than you, I was a close friend of your Uncle Pete's in youth groupie stuff, and I got to know your mom when she was about your age. And so this is like a Ladora Vadora moment when people who have been connected for that long can now be the grown-ups standing here with the next generation and be involved in this level. And it has been really something profound and special, and you have done just a remarkable job. And it's not like this is this was the first time you and I got to interact like this, but you've sort of been part of the family in different ways. You know, Marcy, our daughter, I mean, I think she might have been your favorite babysitter for a while. So, and Marcy would love putting together the plan to go over or have you over when those opportunities came about. So this was the Mishkan Tefillah that you used with the vaunted Mark Lerner tabbing system. And it has inside it the little inscription. It says, "This Siddur is lovingly presented to Ella Marmerstein for having successfully achieved all that is required to become a bat mitzvah, Mazel Tov, Rabbi Kahn, Rabbi Mason Barkin, and Cantor Ettinger." So this is yours. You'll keep it. And there's more in just a second. But what I want to say as mentor before I put on I represent the board of Congregation Beth Israel hat is it was a very different experience working with you because you were like, yeah, I get the Hebrew, I get the prayers, that's all good, but let's talk about the Torah portion. Let's talk about the themes. And that was really exciting for me. And I just wanted to publicly compliment you for your depth and your grace and your poise throughout this whole process. I think you will be able to look back at this, and I said this to you. This is a time that is not easy for people to go ahead and persevere and have a bat mitzvah or a bar mitzvah, and you did it. And one day, you will be able to look back with a special sense of pride. And I know your future is bright. This is not an end, it's a beginning. It ends one portion in terms of the formal education to become a bat mitzvah, but the beginning of everything that comes after that is now. And so, phenomenal job. So, mentor part, done. Now, it is my honor to represent the board of directors as a past president of Congregation Beth Israel. And you know, I used to run around your grandparents' house as one of the little teenagers that would wreak havoc. And so when your grandfather came out, I told you the story too. I was the president of the board, he was on the board, and he would take a few minutes every so often to come up and pinch my cheek and go, "Boy, chick, you done good." So in here are a few different certificates, including a bat mitzvah certificate and certificates to camp and Israel, and there was a tree planted in your honor. We also set up a B'nai Tzedek fund, so you'll have the ability to make some charitable contributions to that fund and then manage where the proceeds from that fund go, which I think you'll find to be very cool. This is a Torah scroll that is rolled to the actual portion you read today. And so for those of you who are here and the camera, wherever that might be, this is something that our kids actually all have kept in a safe place through all the various transitions. It doesn't get moved, though many other things do. They keep that safe. And then this is your very own Kiddush cup with your name and the date of your bat mitzvah inscribed. So hopefully you'll use this at Shabbat and other special occasions as a reminder of this special day. So it is our honor and our pleasure to say a hearty Mazel Tov. Fabulous job.
Thank you, Mark. Really appreciate you playing both of those roles. Ella, you can relax for a moment. However, I do want to share just one other thing that's in that envelope that is special for you today, which is not only your certificate of becoming a bat mitzvah, but also a certificate of receiving your Hebrew name, which is something that we did right before the bat mitzvah ceremony when we were kind of getting ready. You chose your own Hebrew name, and you thought about it, and you talked about it with your mom, and we talked about it, and you chose the Hebrew name Elisheva. Not only does it honor and sound like the name that your parents gave you when you were born, but it also is the name of a biblical character who you really looked up to when you read more about her, a strong woman. You come from a long line of many strong women. And this name that you have chosen represents that as well. So I just wanted to let everyone know who might not know that that was another important part of this process for you, was choosing that name to represent your Jewish identity. So you can relax for a moment. We are all going to stand up, just like a Yasher Koach and a Mazel Tov for all of that. That was just really phenomenal, hearing all of those beautiful things from all of those people who love you. Let's stand up and turn to Aleinu, page 586.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
We stay standing as we turn to the mourner's Kaddish, Kaddish Yatom, and we think of those who are no longer with us, those who have died in recent days, those who have died at this time in years past. And we also remember the generations of Ella's family who are no longer with us, who we know are a part of that generational passing and a part of the passing on of this tradition. If there's someone you are thinking of today, you may either put their name into the chat function, or if there's anyone you're thinking of today, if you are here in person, I invite you to share their names at this time. We find Kaddish Yatom on page 294 or 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach yirtei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon u'vyomechon u'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kari ve'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shmei dekudesha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who are in mourning and comfort to all who are bereaved as we say together, amen. Let's be seated as we
sing and sway to one of our favorites, one of a very well-known song that I think was inspired by Noah. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Come are the darkest clouds that had me down. Here we go. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day.
We'll do better on the repeat.
It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. Oh, yes, I can make it now. The pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. Let's sing it out. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. 2 more times. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. Last time. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. Amen.
Amen. Cantor, is it sunshiny or sunshining? Important question.
I'm not going to answer that question right now.
Really?
Yeah, I want you to sit with that question. Let's see. It's going to be a bright, sunshiny day.
I'm glad that that's the answer. I think that's even better. Ella, now that we've had that banter, if you look in your podium, you'll find both a Kiddush cup and a challah. The challah is under a cover. There you go. So you can go ahead and pull those out, put them on top, and hold that Kiddush cup up and lead us in that prayer for sweetness. Oh, yep, there's the challah. Ooh.
Okay.
Oh, we're not there yet, though. Kiddush first.
Do a little Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen
L'chaim. You can have a little sip. That is a fresh, clean cup.
All sanitized.
Replaced just for you.
A good
It's
year
grape
for grape
juice, by the way.
A good year for grape
Yeah.
juice.
All right, you can take the cover off.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
B'te'avon, that challah is yours. You look hungry. Enjoy. And Shabbat Shalom and Mazel Tov to the whole family. We are so, so proud.
I can open it.
We'll sing our way out of here.
Okay.
Here we go. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, 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 Shabbat shiny day. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. Harry, Dory, so good to see you. Shabbat shalom.
Am I just taking the bag?